Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Software Testing. In our last video, we tackled 14 essential manual testing interview questions that covered the basics from defining software testing and discussing verification from validation to discussing test cases, exploratory testing, and the software development life cycle. Now, you might be wondering what other questions should we prepare for? These questions will give you a good start, but learning more specific topics can help you stand out in interviews. I'll explain these new topics with real life examples and useful tips. So, stay tuned. In this video, I have prepared 7 essential interview questions for manual testers. While we will focus on these 7 questions today, keep in mind that many other relevant questions exist. I'll be covering more in future videos. The first question is, what is regression testing and why is it important? Second, what is the difference between a test plan and a test strategy? Third, what is negative testing and why is it important? Fourth, can you explain boundary value analysis? Fifth, how do you implement risk based testing in your projects? Sixth, how do you report bugs or communicate testing results to developers and stakeholders? Seventh, how does manual testing fit into an agile or DevOps environment? Regression testing. Understanding regression testing is crucial. You might be asked what is regression testing and why is it important. Employers want to know that you can ensure new code changes don't break existing functionality. Be prepared to discuss how you identify regression test cases and how often you run them during a project. Example of regression testing. Imagine you have a mobile banking app and the developers add a new feature like mobile check deposit. Regression testing is all about making sure that adding this new feature doesn't break any of the app's existing functions. For example, you want to be sure that after the update, you can still log in, transfer money, or check your balance without any issues. Here is a simple way to look at it. Real life example. Think of your favorite mobile banking app. One day they add a new feature such as depositing checks using your phone. Regression testing means that after this new feature is added, someone goes through the app and checks that all the important features like logging in, transferring money, or checking your balance still work perfectly. This way, even though there is something new, nothing that worked before has been broken. Practical insight. To do regression testing, testers create a checklist or a set of test cases for the main parts of the app. Many of these checks can be run automatically by software, but sometimes a person needs to manually check things, especially when it comes to how the app looks or feels. This manual check ensures that even small changes or adjustments have not negatively affected the user experience. In short, regression testing is like a safety net that helps catch any unintended problems that might come from adding new features, ensuring your app remains reliable and user friendly. Test plans versus test strategy. Another common question is, what is the difference between a test plan and a test strategy? Here you can explain that a test plan outlines the scope, objectives, and logistics of testing, while a test strategy is more of a high level document that describes the testing approach and the overall framework for ensuring quality. Understanding both documents demonstrates your grasp of organized testing processes. Real life example. Suppose you are a part of a website redesign project. The test plan would detail the schedule, roles, resources, and environment for testing, while the test strategy would outline the overall approach, deciding which types of tests like functional, usability, performance will be performed. Practical insight. Knowing the difference is key for clear communication in a project. The test strategy provides the high level blueprint, and the test plan breaks down the detailed execution. As for an example, you may see the visual comparison below. Negative testing. Employers often ask what is negative testing and why is it important. This question evaluates your ability to think about edge cases and errors. Be ready with examples of how you have used negative testing to ensure software stability, such as inputting invalid data to see if the application handles errors gracefully. Real life example. Consider an e commerce checkout page where a user might enter an invalid credit card number or leave required fields empty. Negative testing checks how the system responds, ideally by showing a clear error message without crashing. Practical insight. Negative testing is about anticipating user mistakes and ensuring the software handles errors gracefully. This approach builds more robust and user friendly applications by preparing the system for unexpected inputs. Boundary value analysis and equivalence partitioning. These techniques are essential for designing effective test cases. Questions like, can you explain boundary value analysis, or how do you use equivalence partitioning to reduce test cases, show that you know how to optimize testing without compromising on coverage. These topics are particularly useful when interviewing for roles that value strong analytical skills. Real life example. When testing an age input field on a registration form, boundary value analysis would have you test at the limits, like the youngest and oldest allowable ages. Equivalence partitioning involves choosing representative values from different age groups, for example, 1 to 18, 19 to 60, or 61 to 120, to ensure each group is processed correctly. Practical insight. These techniques help optimize your test cases. Instead of testing every possible age, you focus on key values that represent a broader range, saving time while still ensuring thorough coverage. I am going to explain this to you a little bit. Boundary value analysis BVA. This method focuses on testing the edges of input ranges. For an age input field, you would test the minimum valid value 1 year, just below it 0, which should be invalid, the maximum valid value 120 years, and just above it 121, which should also be invalid. These boundary tests help ensure that the system correctly handles edge cases. Equivalence partitioning EP. Instead of testing every possible age, you divide the age range into representative groups. For example, you might split the ages into three groups: 1 to 18, 19 to 60, and 61 to 120. Then you select a representative value from each group, like 10 for the first group, 30 for the second, and 70 for the third. This method ensures that you cover different segments of the input range efficiently without testing every single value. This is the diagram that I prepared to explain, that will help you visually and understand how these two testing techniques work together to optimize test cases and ensure thorough coverage without redundant tests. Next is risk based testing. An increasingly popular topic is risk based testing. Interviewers might ask, how do you implement risk based testing in your projects? This question allows you to discuss how you prioritize test cases based on the likelihood and impact of potential failures. It's a great way to show that you not only test thoroughly but also smartly. Real life example. Think about a hospital management system where patient data is vital. Here, risk based testing would prioritize critical functions like patient record management over less critical ones like appointment scheduling, because errors in the former could have severe consequences. Practical insight. This approach lets you allocate resources effectively. By identifying which parts of the software pose the highest risk if they fail, you ensure that testing efforts are focused where they matter most. Next, Communication and collaboration skills. While technical skills are vital, your ability to communicate effectively is just as important. Expect questions like: how do you report bugs or communicate testing results to developers and stakeholders? Sharing examples of your collaborative approach or tools you use, like bug tracking systems, can set you apart. Real life example: imagine discovering a critical bug in a live system. Instead of just logging it, you immediately use a bug tracking tool to report the issue and follow up with a team meeting to discuss its impact and possible fixes. Practical insight: good communication is essential in testing. It's not just about finding bugs but also about clearly reporting them and collaborating with developers and stakeholders to resolve issues quickly. This soft skill often makes a big difference in how efficiently a team can work. Next is Agile and DevOps practices. With many teams now following Agile or DevOps methodologies, you may be asked, how does manual testing fit into an Agile or DevOps environment? Demonstrating familiarity with iterative development cycles and continuous integration can make a big difference. Real life example: in a startup using agile methods, teams work in short sprints with weekly releases. Manual testers rapidly check new features alongside automated tests. For instance, a bug spotted during a daily stand up might be fixed within the same sprint because of continuous communication and rapid feedback loops. Practical insight: manual testing in agile and DevOps environments means you must be quick and adaptable. Even though automation covers repetitive tasks, manual testers add a layer of quality by addressing usability issues and unexpected behaviors. This flexibility is key in fast paced development cycles. How manual testing fits in. Even in a fast paced agile or DevOps environment, manual testing is essential. Manual testers provide human insight. They can spot issues in usability or design that automated tests might overlook. Work in real time. They test new features as soon as they are developed, ensuring that problems are caught early. Support continuous feedback. Their feedback helps developers quickly fix problems, which is crucial in an environment where changes happen often. In summary, agile and DevOps practices mean working in small, continuous cycle with a high level of team collaboration and integration. Manual testing within this framework involves being flexible and quick to test, adopt, and communicate, ensuring the final product is not only technically sound but also user friendly. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more software testing interview tips and tutorials. Let me know in the comments what additional questions you would like me to cover, or share your interview experiences with manual testing. Thanks for watching and happy testing.